Chapter 3.
Time, December 18th, 2033, 3 p.m., not 2 hours later. Place, the VIP dock of Caribbean Heights Resort, Key Largo, Florida. It was not raining. That would be inaccurate to say. The sky was a turret, playful in contempt, and the wind its oldest friend. Beneath them all would bend. This was their desire. They would see the oceans crash, submit to their assault. Before the night was through, Poseidon himself would bow to the storm, and Lucky was not sure this little drone, this quadcopter, would fly. The old Sea Dog pilot, however, grinned and hooted, hollered at the hurricane, proud to play its game. Sea dogs, alone in their genus, enjoy a good bath. Something about that sea dog smirk made Lucky think they just might make it through. The hollering pilot, sailor of the sky, captain of the ship that would soon hover or crash, looked at Lucky and barked over the wind's shout. "It looks like clear conditions all the way there, friend. Seat belts on while the light is blinking and off we go. We'll touch Bimini Sands in 45 if I have my way." Lucky had already buckled up and tightened the strap, but he still double-checked as the sound of machinery accelerated in pitch and volume. The drone began to shake. The little drone, a two-seater. We're talking about something in between an ATV and a Jeep if you popped a propeller on top. Smaller than a van, most certainly. Liftoff approached. Rumbles, whistles, and undulating chopped air. These sounds took off and the ground sank beneath them as they entered the sky, rapidly gaining height to fly beyond the drowning coast. The hurricane raged as Lucky pursued the diamond robbers and their crew. If not for his chance meeting with the Looney Tune flying the plane, those diamonds would be gone forever. A chance still remained, should the storm not win the pot before they reached their destination. All signs pointed to the thieves heading toward the Bimini Islands, and in Lucky's experience, signs are worthy of following, and even more so the more signs you encounter. The sky continued its precipitous parade, and the drone swayed to and fro. There was more turbulence than forward progress, it seemed to Lucky, but the lack of visibility in the sky before him had him unsure if this was fact or fear. He found himself constantly gripping his knees or the thin armrests of the seat. He thought he might faint. Every dip of the drone was a drop of Lucky's stomach. Davy Jones was not a man he wanted to meet, and it was not lost on him where, in fact, he was. Where above the Atlantic he was. 45 minutes, the Sea Dog said. Let it be the mantra, he thought. Just 45 minutes. And if the man says bail, you open the emergency panel and you use the lever and scrunch tight for impact. He will make it, though, he thought. He'll make it. The hull of the two-man drone creaked in echo to the thunder crack as the Sea Dog went to great lengths to keep the vehicle in the air. Another day, another passenger. This fella, Lucky on his right, the gumshoe. The Sea Dog started considering how to tell him that they weren't going to be making it to Bimini. "Lucky, right?" the St. Bernard-like pilot barked. "Yes," Lucky replied shakingly, only 10% of his focus reserved for communication at best, the rest resigned to serving turbulence and tremor of the hull. Then Lucky heard the bells, loud, resounding, 3 times, in quick succession. Lucky was beginning to be concerned that he might be hallucinating these sounds. Shaw spoke up, snapping him from his contemplation about what he'd just heard. "Lucky, it's looking grim out there, my friend. I don't know if we're gonna make—" "Wait a minute, wait just a minute there. I see a landing pad. You see it down there?" "A landing pad?" Lucky asked, and then he saw it. White tarmac, somehow standing, rising, falling with the ocean's crush. Splashes of sea cresting over, cylindrical swells sliding over air, never on the sea-bound landing pad, as if it were encased in a tunnel unseen. A white landing pad that extended to a sidewalk path, white as ivory too, and at the end, a door alone stood red among the white and blue. Red as Christmas, handle gold, door frame silver. There, down below, in the water, in the middle of the ocean. Impossible. "The triangle," shouted Shaw. The triangle is opening for you, Lucky. I had a feeling about you, buddy. I'm going to take us down. Are you insane? In this? Lucky panikedly asked. Ain't no other way. That's what the triangle wants. And he looked at Lucky with a jolly, mischievous grin, lips completely open, smiling eyes squinted, and one side of his smile slightly higher than the other, slightly slyer than the other. His jaw was slightly unaligned as well, as if the lower mandible had intent to smirk. What? Lucky shouted, confused and fearful at the admission of Shaw as the old sea dog began to lower the drone toward the tumultuous landing pad. What was Shaw talking about? What was going on? The drone dropped through a massive crest of a wave in the last moment of descent, landing with a thud on the platform, nearly toppling, but the wave stopped as it hit the ground. The windshield, too, appeared to no longer be victim to the hurricane's rain. The tapping on the helicopter ceased, though the sound, while muffled of the storm, continued its shout. The blades of the drone began to idle, quieter and quieter, but running still. The hum of the machinery within, the vibration of the perturbations of the ground it had been set upon, felt in the body, shaking and humming. Lucky, taken aback, confused, awestruck, glanced toward door, then looked across the interior of the drone back at the sea dog. The door? It's a door. To nowhere. How's that supposed to help me? Well, it's that or the sea, Lucky. Take your pick, because my precious drone here isn't going anywhere. Shaw wagered this Lucky's way. Is it a rig or something? A latched door below or something? What is it? Check it out and see, my friend, the sea dog shouted, and Lucky, with no other options, did. He opened the door, and if it had been loud before inside the cockpit, he'd call it quiet there now, compared to this. As the door opened, the ringing of bells, consistent in time, commenced, alongside the winds and waves that sounded on Lucky's ears. The rain, though, strangely, as also for the helicopter, did not land on him. He was still quite damp from the earlier boarding of Shaw's small airship back on the docks. It was quite loud as he stepped out, but the water wasn't landing on the pad. It was as if he was in a tunnel below the storm, an unseen tunnel encased within the storm. A tunnel and a landing pad, and a door, a red door to nowhere. He looked back in the cockpit at Shaw, who encouraged him with a smile and a wave. The bells continued on. What was Lucky to do? Something in him, the investigator, the artist, the man, not knowing what came next, looked within and used his heart. His heart said, "Go to the door." His world had changed from speculation about phenomena such as these to knowledge in less than an hour. Moments like these were rare, he thought, unbelievable, he thought, so he did what all great investigators do. He took a step forward toward the threshold, and another, and Lucky began walking as the bells he'd heard before in his dreams rang out. Nearly to the door now, gaze fixed upon it. Walking cautiously, unexpected, Shaw's voice on the wind spoke. Soft, yet loud, an intercomic voice. That's the spirit, lad. That's the spirit. And that voice from on the high of the storm continued then, just as Lucky turned around. Fading in sound, Shaw encouraged Lucky. Welcome to the beginning, Gumshoe. See you again sometime. And Lucky finished his turn to find that Shaw and the drone, anyone but him, had disappeared. Panic began in Lucky's mind for just a moment. What had just happened? What was he going to do? Had they crashed? Was he dead? Was he dying? Were those the last moments of his life? A dream? In moments, all these questions went through Lucky's head. In perilous times like these, though, one mustn't let their nerves get the better of them. Histories have been written and wars have been lost over upset stomachs during moments of action. Lucky knew he had to find the strength to steadfastly continue forward, for he was now alone there. There, in the storm, Lucky Holiday was standing at the door. Lucky grabbed the golden handle of the red door and turned. It pushed inward and to the right and opened, and the bells stopped. The sound of the wind and the sound of the waves continued. This was not a door like those that he had seen before. This door was something more. Looking inside, Lucky's gaze fell upon darkness fleeing down, whiteness, light, ascending up, and the setting sun between. What appeared a sunset or a sunrise on the horizon contained within the void beyond the frame, extending to forever. The wind upon the unseen tunnel encasing him within the storm continued raging all around him. His Sea Dog pilot was gone. Lucky considered all his options while looking through the door. His phone. He pulled out his phone and checked for bars, finding none. No way to call, message, text, or signal. No way home. Not right now. Musing moments more, shivering there upon the cusp. He made his mind up. He'd go, he thought. He must. And so he did, putting a foot in the door and pressing on the dark void, finding surface underneath his foot. The void was tangible, a pitch-black plains underneath the feet of a white night. In the door he went, and he began to walk, and no later than several steps within as the bells continued sounding, the horizon inside, the converging endpoint of orange, red, and pink, expanded outward, back toward the door. The darkness and the white were quickly washed out in these beams of light. A bright and racing divergence of streams of color, a warm bath untaken by eyes before, fanned out, around, up and down, engulfing Lucky in a flash. Then, nothing else. Silence.